Welcome, it's Neil Dugan here. We're day 8 of the Great Depression Challenge, and I'm so pleased to be here with you today. Today we're going to talk about the relationship between anxiety and depression, and something that you might not be too pleased to hear about, but it's the relationship between the two and mania of some sort. Now, most of you watching here won't actually be clinically manic. And you may or may not be either clinically anxious or clinically depressed either, for that matter. It doesn't matter, because all we're really talking about is the scale at which these things are impacting upon you. But I'm quite sure that you will go through or have access to these 3 phases that we're going to talk about today. So rather than using the scary word manic or the scary word depression or the scary word anxiety, I'm going to talk about being fast, being slow, and needing control. So we have fast, we have slow, and we have control. So they correlate to the process of either being manic, being depressed, or being anxious. So one way or another, you will, if you're a person who, say, suffers from anxiety, at some times in your life you're going to be fast. Things are going to go fast. You're going to want to achieve things. You're going to be doing lots of stuff. You're going to have heaps of energy. You're not going to need too much sleep. And depending on how severe or how deeply you're actually in this fast phase will actually create the difference in the symptoms that you're actually experiencing. At some stage or other in your cycle, you're going to decide that you really actually kind of want to throw in the towel. You've had enough of all this activity and it's all too busy, and I can't really be bothered too much anymore. And if clearly at this point you're beginning to go into slow. And slow can be very, very deep, or it can be quite shallow. So for some people, they just only briefly go in, or only go very shallowly into this experience of being slow. One of the defining features of slow is that you actually give up control. So you decide, not only do I not want to be so busy and having to deal with these things and all the stuff I've got to cope with, but you actually get to the point where you actually say, I can no longer be bothered. I cannot be bothered with all of the things that I have to do. I'm just going to give up control. And this might sound terrifying, or it might sound quite nice if you thought to yourself, well, I'm going to give up control to the divine. What on earth could Neil Dugan say against that? And I would actually have to stick up for you. And of course, if you actually decide to give up control to the divine, well then, perhaps you're on a step towards, some sort of proper enlightenment. In any case, that's not likely to be happening. You're much more likely to just be giving up control altogether. At some point during slow, you're going to recognize that things are falling down around your ears. So like there's all kinds of stuff just beginning to fall down around your ears. And at that point you're going to say, you know what, I want some control back. And so you begin to go into this phase where you are anxiously looking for ways in which you can actually control things. And it's a very ungrounding process, and obviously if you are somebody who suffers from anxiety, clinical anxiety, then it's a very debilitating process. Coming out of this control phase, so we're talking about just recapturing control in our lives, or attempting to do so at the very least. There's a fair old chance that you might decide to actually be happy for a while. And so we have the 4th phase of this cycle, and it's the cycle of being happy. And how useful is that being happy? Is it real contentment? Is it peace? Is it joy? Or is it just actually being asleep? These questions are very, very important to answer, and will predict whether you're going to go into another cycle again, and how quickly you're going to go into another cycle. Certainly if you're dealing with joy and peace and bliss and like that real deep happiness and contentment and these things, then the chances of you wishing to actually dive straight back into another one of these episodes of fast are far, far less. And you're much more likely to actually just stay in this sort of reasonably conscious, reasonably awake type of happiness. If you're just in there and you're just happy to be not feeling all this rubbish in my life anymore, and I'm not anxious anymore at the moment, and I'm not feeling depressed anymore at the moment, and I'm not cluttered up with all this need to be doing stuff at the moment, then it's very likely that you're just asleep. And if you're asleep, one thing I can guarantee to you is that you are going to dive straight back into a fast process. Now, in another video, I'm going to talk about how we can jump. We don't necessarily have to go around this beautiful loop, the circle. That's well, it's the most common way that I've observed in over 1,000 clients that I've spoken to, is that would be what you'd do. But there are definitely people, and perhaps many or all of you from time to time will do this, where you'll jump straight from anxiety back into mania, or straight from anxiety back into depression. And indeed, I've demonstrated this myself, and like, it was a very unfortunate experience, but it's entirely possible to be both depressed and manic at the same time. It's a bipolar process, obviously, and it's very, very possible to have anxiety inside the mania and to have anxiety inside the depression. It's very, very, very common. So I'm painting a neat little picture. I'm just saying that it's not necessarily quite as neat as I'm making that picture sound, but nonetheless, it's very, very useful when you begin to actually understand where you are actually in this cycle. So regardless of whether you're deep in it or shallow in it, you're going to be somewhere in the cycle. So I'm going to sign off now, and tomorrow we're going to continue the 30-day depression challenge, and look forward to seeing you on that video. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's far and away the best way for me to get information to you, and it really helps me as well. So if you're finding this valuable, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and please share this video with your friends. Anybody who you know is suffering from depression or anxiety, or perhaps mania, share this video with them, and let them see what we're talking about. I know it's useful. This material helped me come out of the deepest of clinical depression myself, and so I know it works, and I've worked with well over 1,000 clients with this material and this approach, and I know it's worked for them as well. So thanks for watching, and I look forward to catching you on the next video. Thank you. Bye.